I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon. The prayer this afternoon will be offered by the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May we assume our postures. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for our families, and thank you for our lessons, and thank you for our opportunities. Thank you for our lives, for we don't always know how to be so grateful, and for that, we're sorry. Help us not to get so distracted by this world that we forget just how blessed we really are. Amen.
Quorum call.
Mr. Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? Will someone hit my button? Okay, thank you. I'm speaker right now, okay. Has everyone recorded their presence?
Mr.
Well,
Speaker.
you should.
My,
I see a delegate whose button is not working. Ann Arundel?
my button's not working.
Get you?
Chisholm.
If everyone has registered their presence, the clerk will take the call. With 107 members present, the House is now in session. The clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, March the 7th, 2026.
The Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So much reconsidered the reading of the journal.
So ordered.
Mr. Speaker. what I
Petitions,
said.
memorials, and other papers. Second. Report on the Committee on Appropriations, number 14. Number 14. The clerk will call the first bill.
I got it. House Bill 607, Constitutional Officers' Salaries, favorable.
Question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 744, Correctional Officers' Retirement System, Dorchester County, favorable.
The question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 927, Carroll County Public Facilities Bond, favorable.
Question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1102, Correctional Officers' Retirement System, Allegheny County, favorable.
Question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Hearing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1311, Higher Education Student Financial Assistance for Incarcerated Individuals, alterations, favorable.
The question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1513, Calvert County Public Facilities Bonds, favorable.
Question before the House is the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or to its title? Hearing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Report on the Committee on Appropriations, number 18. Clerk will call the bill.
House Bill 845, Higher Education Community College Promise Scholarship Eligibility, Del Mar High School graduates. Favor the amendments. Amendment
Floor
1.
leader,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
so ordered.
This has two amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 adds language related to the Francis Scott Key Transportation Workers Scholarship, including updating definitions and eligibility for tuition reimbursements. While there is no transit, I move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the transit-free amendment. All in favor shall signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any other transit-related amendments or other amendments related to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Report on the Committee on Appropriations, report number 15. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 327, Education Board of Community College Trustees for Baltimore County membership. Favor the amendments. Amendment number 1.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So ordered.
The amendment just adds sponsors. Move the amendment.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor but signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. The clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 839, Frederick Community College Board of Trustees meeting and training requirements. Favor the amendments. Amendment number 1.
The floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
The amendment adds intent language and additional requirements for board meetings. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is on the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading, and the clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1176, Howard County Board of Education budget minimum funding. Favor the amendments. Amendment number 1.
The floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So ordered.
This amendment clarifies that the county executive must indicate in writing the percentage of the county's general fund revenue allocated to the operating budget and must include certain categories of operating costs. Move the amendment.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is on the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor shall signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. The clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1257, Baltimore County Board of Education financial reporting requirements. Favor the amendments. Amendment number 1.
Recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
The first amendment is technical and adds sponsors. The second amendment adds requirements for online data reporting. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Hearing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. The clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1430, Maryland Public Charter School Program School Facilities Funding. Favor the amendments. Amendment number 1.
The floor leader. 1430. Court's indulgence.
I don't think our floor leader is with us. Move so much we consider the reading of the amendment.
Chair of the committee, so ordered.
Thank you, sir. Amendment number 1 is technical and adds sponsors. Amendment number 2 alters the per pupil amount from $1,600 all the way down to $200 and excludes districts that have closed over 50 schools since 2010 and made surplus facilities available to charter schools. Move the amendments.
Question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1581, horse racing facility ownership, development, licensing, and operations alterations. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So ordered.
Thank you. There are 2 amendments. First amendment is technical and adds sponsors. Second amendment expands the bill to include additional economic development. There are 3 projects: Prince George's County Blue Line Corridor, Pimlico's and training facility, and Bus Rapid Transit Grant Program. The first Prince George's County Blue Line, which of course is the economic development around the Blue Line. It alters the definition of the Blue Line corridor to include the area that is designated as an enterprise zone. Second, alters the definition of Blue Line corridor facility to include additional types of projects such as market hall, sports facilities, etc. Third, increase the amount of lottery funds distributed to the Blue Line corridor special funds each year from $27 million to $31 million. And fourth, increase the total amount of debt that may be issued to the Blue Line corridor facilities from $400 million to $450 million. Pimlico training facilities. It clarifies the Preakness Stakes may only be run temporarily at another track during the reconstruction of Pimlico. Second, it alters existing law related to a notice requirement if racing is no longer a lawful activity to require community input about the future use of the facility. Fourth, it alters the distribution of 10% of annual net income of Maryland Jockeys Club to require that the distribution to be the Pimlico Community Development Authority for distribution for community organization as outlined in the Pimlico Area Joint Plan. And then fourth, it requires the governor to include $5 million to the fiscal year 28 budget for the backstretch housing at Laurel. And then finally, increases the total amount of lottery funds distributed to the Racing Community Development Financing Fund from at least $17 million to $27 million. Lastly, the last expansion project, is the Bus Rapid Transit Grant Program, and it alters the Bus Rapid Transit Program to only provide grants to Montgomery County's BRT program. And secondly, it increases the amount of distributed to the BRT grant fund from the Transportation Trust Fund from $10 million to $12 million. Move the amendments.
The question for the House is the adoption of the amendments, both transit-related and not. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is passed, will be printed for third reading. Report on the Committee on Appropriations number 16. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 608, courts, administrative judges, annual stipend. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
608, the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
The First Amendment is technical. The Second Amendment alters the compensation for the chairman of the Workers' Compensation Commission. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading, and the clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 678, Correctional Officers Retirement System Membership Clarifications. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
The floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
There is one amendment to make a technical correction to the eligibility employee categories. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 680, Children's Cabinet Fund Renaming and Funding for Grants to Local Management Boards. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
Court's indulgence. Floor leader. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Floor leader.
Hi, Mr. Speaker. I know I can barely be seen over the desk. It's okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much to be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
There is one amendment to reduce the appropriation for fiscal 2028 to $1 million above the fiscal 2027 amount, then to $500,000 above the prior fiscal year's amount in the out years. Please move the amendments.
Question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor of the amendment will signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading, and the clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 789, Law Enforcement Officers Pension System Military Service Credit Eligibility. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
There are two amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 limits the scope to a member or a former member who is or was assigned as a helicopter pilot in a state law enforcement aviation unit. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report of the committee. All in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading. The clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1139, State Retirement and Pension System Eligible Governmental Units. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
There are two amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 aligns reporting dates and further clarifies that process by which certain local employees may opt out of participation in the various pension systems. Move the amendments.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there any additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading, and the clerk will call the next bill.
House Bill 1248, Part-Time State Employment Pilot Program established Maryland Workforce Retention, Recruitment, and Re-Entry Act. Favorable amendments. Amendment number 1.
The floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendments.
So ordered.
Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 changes the bill into a work group. Move the amendments.
Question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. The question now is the adoption of the favorable report as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The favorable report is adopted. Are there additional amendments to the bill or to its title? Seeing none, the bill is ordered printed for third reading.
Special order calendar, number 35, House Bill 894. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 894, Land Use Transit-Oriented Development, Alterations, Maryland Transit and Housing Opportunity Act. Favor report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the minority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am glad we have started this trend. I love it. I think we should use transit as much as possible. Unfortunately, while the bill deals with transit,
Oh,
the
wait,
amendment...
one second.
I'll read
Just
the
1
amendment.
minute, Minority Leader.
The
Minority Leader,
computers
1
are
minute.
dead as well.
Yes.
The gentleman from Kaiser, West Virginia, has manipulated the machine inappropriately. He got excited with the transit.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I have an amendment at the desk, 573529/1.
Amendment number 1.
Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment.
So order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
While the bill deals with transit, the amendment that I'm about to present to you is a little bit broader. It relates to project labor agreements, PLAs. I am generally a pretty good supporter, I believe, of private sector labor unions in the trades. I am the grandson of a coal miner and a truck driver, and I have a great appreciation for people who work very hard, in the economy, in the labor union type of economy. And I think that labor unions should have a fair opportunity to participate in any type of contract. But project labor agreements, PLAs, such as mandated in this particular bill for these types of projects, basically rig the game and say, rather than competing on the basis of price, we have a preset determination that you can only hire individuals who work through a particular labor union. Why is that potentially bad? 89% of United States construction industry workers are not a member of a labor union. Almost 9 out of 10 people who work in the construction trades, for whatever reason, are not a member of a labor union. And why is it really bad when we're talking about the expenditure of public monies or projects that the public is setting up and we want to do them for affordability? We want to have affordable housing, which is part of the reason for this bill, because project labor agreements traditionally raise the costs of a project by between 12 to 20%. They simply do. There are a variety of studies that have existed. A 2024 study found that government-mandated PLAs on affordable housing in California added approximately $92,700 per housing unit. They increased the cost per unit by $92,700. So if your concern is to build things and build them well, but build them efficiently as possible so that they can be offered in an affordable way, a project labor agreement sort of sets the stage for that not to happen. I would prefer for our policies to always reflect competition, and if companies who hire labor union employees are in the best position to offer the best value for the project, then we should pick them every time. They should never be discriminated against in any way because they're a part of a private sector labor union. But if they're not, you should go somewhere else. And I'll tell you one other little thing too. The significant number of PLAs wind up hiring workers who do not live in Maryland or in the communities where they are. They do not use your local small business, mid-sized business construction company, your electrical subcontractors, your construction concrete subcontractors, because they're not unionized. And the PLA says you have to have them all unionized, and so they go to companies that are typically much larger, places like Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, other areas, and they bring in workers for a limited period of time. And you'll see this if you're ever around a major construction project. In my real life, I do a lot of construction litigation, and if you're ever around a major construction project, you'll see a lot of out-of-state plates in the parking lot, and you'll see a lot of folks who come in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month and a half to work on the project who are from out of state, and they get put up at local hotels, motels. They go to work, they're hardworking men and women, but they're not many times Maryland residents. And for those reasons, Your Honor, excuse me, Madam Speaker, I got I'm getting it from these two over here. You know, they're getting me on. I would request that we move the amendment and respect the floor leader for his perspective on it, but it's essentially just to strike the project labor agreement from the bill.
Floor Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Minority Leader. Before resisting your amendment, I would like to say that the bill is balanced, very, very intentional, and I sincerely appreciate that the amendment was shared ahead of time. I want to emphasize this bill is the result of a long and very thoughtful collaboration. MDOT, MACO, and MML have worked closely on this bill for a long time to get this balanced for the record. And to the minority point, the PLA provision is not a mandate. It is simply one optional scoring factor within the TOD Capital Grant and Loan Fund. And the minority leader referred to a lot of research. As someone trained in the research world, there is called regressive analysis. In regressive analysis, you have to look the factors. You have to look the empirical data. You have to look the large data set, not just the headline. And you have to have a control variables as well. And we are legislating data-driven decision, which is outcome-based. And I don't want to make this a PhD class, but there are a lot of data sets that says that even though this bill is not mandating, PLA is not mandated, but there is no research that say that when this PLA is involved and the cost will go up. And a PLA is not about who builds. It is about how the project gets built with stability and predictability and no disruption. Mr. Minority Leader, and you made a very good point about that you respect the trade union, which is wonderful. Like as a classroom teacher, we always talk about you should be prompt, you should be polite, you should be predictive, you should be productive, and you should be positive. When these labor unions are involved, and we know that when this project will be finished. And again, I'm saying this is not mandate, and this flexibility drive participation, and more participation means more project. More project means more housing, and more housing directly supports affordability, and more supply, lower cost, and better access for Maryland families. And why the amendment is a problem? It is unnecessary, and it removes restricts something that is already optional and non-binding, and it disrupts a carefully crafted compromise, right? The bill has a commitment, making sure that folks can afford. All the time I've been here for last 8 years, I see that a lot of residents are leaving the state because a state is not affordable. And now we know that we have 1,000 nurses shortage in our state. Teachers are shortage. They cannot afford to stay here. So it disrupts a carefully crafted compromise. Again, I would like to emphasize that MDOT, MACO, MML, they worked together, and this was achieved deliberately. And it risks slowing the housing productions. And less flexibility means less housing, and less housing means higher cost. And I urge the body to resist the amendment.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing first the delegate that I saw first from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
I rise today because I was a union truck driver for 15 years. I understand what the unions do. We just recently had a bill hearing on to allow the 6th legislative district, people in our district, to be able to get involved in the rebuilding of the Key Bridge. We were told it wouldn't happen. It was going to be very difficult. We ain't giving up. Just to give you an example of what we're talking about, we have a local trucking company that is locally owned, been there for 35 or 40 years. He was not able to bid on this job because he wasn't union. That's not fair. This man actually started a plant to recycle topsoil on the other side of the Key Bridge just before the Key Bridge collapsed. And after the Key Bridge collapsed, he had to close it up, so he lost a lot of money. And that's why I'm standing on this. Also, I wanted to point out that the Red Line's been talking about bringing it through up Lumber Street in Dundalk. We had a long conversation about this. once a key bridge is rebuilt, there's no reason the MTA cannot come across a key bridge from the west side to bring employees back from there. And that's why I'm standing up, and I am standing for a green vote. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate in the chair of the Rules Committee.
To explain my vote, my red vote on this amendment, I guess, we all have, a lot of us on this floor have union connections in our families, and I do too. But I want to talk about two things. One is, for construction, it's very important that you have high quality construction, and you don't always want to have it go to the lowest bidder to have something built that it is supposed to last a long time. Number two, safety. Every year I go to a memorial mass for the construction industry, for the men and women who die in the construction industry every year. Very dangerous work. Union members put safety first, and they don't have those kind of accidents. It's very important that we have safety and that we have quality. And that is why I think that this amendment isn't appropriate. Thank you.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County in the back.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support my green vote for this amendment as the wife of a carpenter who was always competing for work for 45 years. The PLA just drives up the cost of the job and shuts down competition. This was a great amendment, and I'm sorry it didn't pass.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this bill is not on red line. This is about enterprise zones, right? And the bill, again, I'm saying this does not mandate PLAs. It uses a competitive scoring system where project may receive preferences if they meet certain goals, including workforce and equity consideration. And we cannot forget, when we are talking enterprise zone, that the strategic investment zone, that is the job creation engine, and the community reinvestment, and distress area uplifting, and local wealth generation, and market stimulation tool, and the list goes on and on and on. And this is the bill where there is already a growth, and we already have the engine to support, and therefore this is a great bill.
The clerk will take the call. There being,
Madam Speaker.
actually the amendment fails. All right?
Madam Speaker.
Yes. Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question for the floor leader, please.
Floor leader, right near you.
Hey there.
Yes.
So I do have a question about some language in the bill. So I'm looking at, I guess it looks like line 21. It says you can redevelop state-owned land contiguous to rail transit stations. So I have a train station in my district. I don't believe that it would apply to this, but I'm curious how this could work. So we have a train station, we've got a state road, and then across the road is a lot of state property. Can state highways be used to make it contiguous?
This is clear. Yes. Yes. If you look on the page 9 of the bill, land is owned by the state of the Walmart. The language is there that receive at least hourly service on average from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. A legislative body or other local agency with land use authority may not impose different type of the limitation, like the parking and other stuff.
No, I understand. I'm not asking about the timing or anything like that. I'm asking if a state highway, which is also state land that is contiguous to a rail station, can connect other pieces of property, or does the land have to be directly connected to the rail station?
Yes, that should be directly connected to the rail station.
Okay, thank you.
That doesn't apply. Thank you.
Baltimore County is busy. Go ahead. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I
You're
had
welcome.
an amendment at the desk, but I don't think I'm going to offer it. I'm just going to ask a quick question here so I better understand the bill. if in the bill it says that local governments still retain the authority over the adequate public facilities ordinances, but at the same time the bill is actually stripping away local zoning controls. So my question is, well, near transit, I should say, who actually has the last word if and when there is a conflict?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. It only applies to enterprise zone. When you talk about the local control, still the safety, infrastructure, and everything is controlled by local. And it only removes very outdated, blanketed restriction that, you know, not removing this control means not removing the barriers, right? So yeah, so this is very important bill. Still the local, they control the environment piece, they control the infrastructure piece, but it only applies to enterprise zone. That is, that will get some tax incentive, and there will be public-private partnership catalyst works as well.
Well, I thought it was a certain distance to
Yes,
to
quarter
rail.
miles. Quarter miles.
So if there's a
From the-
project within a quarter mile, I guess, of the rail system, the zoning is overruled, the local zoning, and but the area then that has these infrastructure issues with traffic and overcrowding schools, you're saying that the project, no matter what, would be killed?
No,
if that's what the county decided?
That's subject to exemption in Part G of the environment. There is a language that can be exempted. Therefore, these Maryland counties, MML, they work together. It is narrowly tailored. Yeah, that's
Would the
in the
gentleman-
environmental constraint. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll touch base with you offline, not to hold everything up.
That's
Thank you
fine.
for third reader. Thank you.
Would the gentleman yield?
No, I have a question for the floor
Okay.
leader, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I appreciate it. Mr. Floor Leader, I just want to clarify for my constituents back in 42B. This bill applies to enterprise zones only. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is it true that we don't have any enterprise zones in 42B?
Yes.
That is correct. And if someone were to suggest an enterprise zone in 42 or 42B or 42A, isn't it true in this bill, as amended, that the local government would be able to reject that?
Absolutely.
And in that case, 42A or B would not be affected by this bill.
That
in
is
any way.
correct.
Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Quick question.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County to my right. You.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Your left, my left. I just want to verify, Trade Point Atlantic, I just used the Google.
I was going to say something funny. You do not want to be on my left. That's what the lady from Baltimore County said yesterday.
Look, I have a piece of chalk in my pocket.
Okay.
All joking aside, Trade Point Atlantic is in an enterprise zone. And there have been talk, and matter of fact, I think the governor even mentioned about bringing the red line through up Dundalk Avenue into Trade Point Atlantic or up North Point Boulevard, whatever it is, to give service to Trade Point Atlantic. We had a conversation, actually met with Trade Point Atlantic with the Baltimore County delegation talking about how to get people from the west side to the east side to work. We come up with an idea and a plan up until the Key Bridge collapsed. They could pick them up from the west side and bring them across the Key Bridge directly into Sparrows Point. Works, great. No reason why we can't. My concerns are, and I want to repeat this, I do not want to see the red line in my district. When you have mass transit that can do the same job for a whole lot cheaper. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions, the bill will be printed for third reading. Special order calendar number 40. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 1480, Labor Law, Child Labor Penalties, Private Sector Employee Labor Relations, and State Employee Labor Standards. Favor report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the maker of the motion, the minority whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I had a chance to speak to the bill sponsor, and I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Seeing none, the bill is printed for third reading. Special order calendar number 37, House Bill 502. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 502, Real Property Governing Bodies of Common Ownership Communities, Member Training. Favorite report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the maker of the motion, the delegate from Hartford County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have an amendment at desk, 573-525-1.
Amendment number 1.
So what this amendment seeks to do is exempt communities from this requirement that are 30 homes or less. I'd like to talk a little bit about that. So in my job from 2016 to 2020, I ran a property management company. We had about 500 associations across the state and the Mid-Atlantic region that we ran, and so I was very intimately involved in this industry. And one of the biggest challenges communities have, especially smaller communities of working class individuals, is finding folks to volunteer for these positions. These are volunteer jobs, and in some cases, these board members become adversarial with their neighbors. And it's a real challenge because they don't want to be adversarial with their neighbors, but the duties and responsibilities of managing HOA, enforcing covenants, things of that nature, organically create this tension. And while they're obviously responsible for a lot of things that come with the HOA, stormwater management, the budgets, so on and so forth, it's very, very difficult to find people. As a HOA management company, we would have to go through, even in large communities, and try to recruit people who are willing to invest their time away from their family, away from their job and other things, to volunteer to help manage these communities. So by putting forth additional requirements, and the communities will have to pay for this type of training, especially in the smaller communities, it's going to make it even more difficult. And in retirement communities, it's a little bit easier because you have some retirees who have some time on their hands, and their community and maintaining the community is very important to them and kind of becomes their kind of quasi job. But in working class communities, with people working, you know, two when both parents or both family members are working, and they got kids and they got school and they got other activities going on, it's very, very difficult to recruit board members. And the smaller the community it is, the harder it is to recruit individuals. So I think it's very appropriate to exclude some of these smaller communities because it's going to create some unintended consequences of trying to fill some of these jobs, and you can't force somebody to be on the HOA board. So with that, Madam Speaker, I move the amendment.
Recognizing the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I
You're
want to
welcome.
thank the gentleman from Hartford County for bringing the amendment earlier, and we had a discussion about this. And this is actually a discussion that we had in committee and subcommittee. And it was brought to our attention that actually the reality is in many of these smaller communities is where you're having some of the biggest problems. You're seeing that you're having issues with reserve requirements not being met, fiduciary duties are not being met, and the reality is with the larger communities, they can actually afford, as the gentleman said, to hire major property company owners. They can afford attorneys. They can afford individuals to help them proceed through the processes that HOAs and common ownership communities go through. These smaller institutions are the ones that actually need the training and support to make sure that they are doing what's right by these smaller communities. I believe in the state of Maryland that everybody deserves to have a HOA and common ownership community that has staff that is able to do the job well. If you're in a smaller community, I don't want you to lose that opportunity. So with that said, it's important that everyone has access to this training. I think the other thing I just want to add with this bill, we've made the gentleman pointed out that it's hard, you know, people have jobs and it's hard to people to sign up for these types of roles in leadership. But the reality is that with this bill, what we've done is we've made it really easy to acquire this training. This training is only about 3 or 4 hours. You have 90 days after you've been elected to sign up for the training. The training can be done through streaming. The training can be done in person. The training can be held. Attorneys can come to the actual institution and conduct the training. So it's very accessible how we've drafted the bill to be able to access training. So with that said, Madam Speaker, I would ask the body to reject this amendment. I think that it's important that all communities that are being led by these type of bodies and institutions have people that have proper training to be able to ensure the community members are properly protected.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? The clerk will take the call. There being 92 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Are there any other additional amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is auto printed for third reading. Special order calendar number 39. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 895, Food Retailers Dynamic Pricing, Surveillance Data, and Collective Bargaining Agreements, Protection from Predatory Pricing Act. Favor report is amended, adopted.
Recognizing the maker of the motion, the delegate from Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I got an amendment at the desk. 473-426.
Amendment number 1.
Move so much to be considered the reading of the amendment.
So order.
This amendment's very simple. It just says that if a retail grocery store wishes to lower prices through either data, dynamic pricing, or technology, that the government won't get in its way. I hesitate to say this, but I worry when we start going down this road. What's next? Happy hour? Ladies' night? I don't know. They're going to. If somebody wants to lower prices, the government should never get in the way, especially when we're talking about technology. I looked it up. In 2006, 20 years ago, a 50-inch TV cost $3,000. You can now get it for $250 because we trusted technology. I understand we want to protect consumers. All this amendment says is we're not going to get in the way if prices are actually going down. I know that the good delegate from Carroll County referenced his wife earlier today on this bill. I would love to reference my wife on this amendment. I wish she could find some lower prices sometimes. Actually, she's very frugal. Love you, baby. Look, this amendment, that's all it's seeking to do, is not get in the way if retail grocery stores want to lower prices. To vote for this bill is voting for lower, or for this amendment is voting for lower prices. To vote against it is saying we trust the government to stop lower prices. With that, I move the amendment.
Floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
And thanks for sharing the amendment with me earlier today. So I feel the need to give a short lesson in economics, and this is how it works. The way that markets lead to lower prices, the assumption in economics of how markets lead to lower prices is that consumers have perfect information. And with that perfect information, with an understanding of where they can get the prices all across their region, they go and they select the lowest price, and that's what drives prices down. Now, we know that Economics 101 doesn't work that way in the real world, but there are ways that consumers can get access to a lot more information, and in theory, that drives the price down. The problem with this bill and the problem with this amendment, the problem with this amendment and the problem with not having the bill is that we're getting to a place because of data and data brokers where the sellers have perfect information about the buyer, and the buyer does not have perfect information about the different prices that the seller could be setting for them or the different prices that might be out there in the world. And so the seller now has the ability to use perfect information about the buyer to raise prices on them, where the buyer does not have that same information about the seller to get the lower price. And so in fact, in Economics 101, 102, if you might recall from your studies, it is appropriate for the state to get involved when there is a market failure. And we are facing a market failure that harms consumers if we allow people's personal data to be used for prices to be raised on them. So now let me get to the second point. Why are we using the word set and not increase? Because, as I explained earlier, what these dynamic pricing tools have the ability to do is to say on a $5 item, oh yeah, the price is 10, but you can have it for 9, and you can have it for 7, and you can have it for 6, and it looks like we're lowering prices when actually we're discriminating amongst the different people because the guy who we're selling it for 9 doesn't have a car and can't go anywhere else for it. The guy who we're selling it for 8 is a single parent and only shops on Thursday nights. But this person over here who has wealth, the ability to travel, the ability to go somewhere else, else to get a lower price ends up with a lower price. And that is what we cannot allow to happen in our communities to our constituents who are already struggling. And so for that reason, Madam Speaker, I ask that we resist this amendment.
Recognizing the gentleman from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That
You're
was
welcome.
interesting lecture.
No.
Free
Go
market.
It
It
ahead and
was,
make your
because
argument. Make
it
your
was
argument.
really it was really interesting, Madam Speaker, because I mean it really kind of took it back to the point where the consumer is just like this rogue idiot walking around and has no information. You know, I got this thing in my pocket here called a cell phone, and I can open up numerous different apps on my cell phone and walk around and just point it at something, and it will tell me where I can find that item for sale and how expensive it is. Consumers are smart, and if we're counting on the government to actually bring fairness to the market, I would just say the track record is pretty poor. Just got to look at, like, I don't know, pick a sector. Everywhere government's been involved, the prices have skyrocketed. And I think the gentleman's amendment is designed because consumers are smart. We're concerned about this might have adverse effect of prices going up. And I stand to support it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. All right. Clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? All right. You have 1 second, delegate from Anne Arundel. All right. The clerk will take the call. There being 92 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Seeing no other amendments or questions, the bill is
Madam
ordered.
Speaker.
Okay. Recognizing the delegate from the Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do have an amendment
You're
at the
welcome.
desk.
Okay.
Amendment number 373526.
Amendment number 1.
Thank you. So we just heard the floor leader talk about the intention of the bill. But I want to talk more about some realistic life examples. And the amendment is very similar, but I think it goes a little further than the amendment we just heard. I wasn't aware that that was going to be offered. Move so much be considered the reading of the amendment. Thank you.
So order.
So dynamic pricing is adjusting to market conditions. And it could be for a lot of reasons. It could be supply, demand, it could be inventory positions, it could be competition. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And that's what I think we need to understand here, because with this bill, my concern, or the reality is, that it's going to limit retailers' ability to make things more affordable for us. In this session, we're talking so much about affordability, and this bill is really going to hurt affordability in a lot of ways. When I think of negative dynamic pricing, you might think of, in context to airline and ride share and so forth, where there's surge demand and things like that, where the price hurts us. But I'm trying to think of some other issues. And then there's this other thing in here. So I think this is a simple common sense amendment for a very complex bill. We have this other thing in there about within 24 hours changing the price. So with what we heard about retailers' ability, because of our phones and other things, to change pricing, I think of myself in the grocery store, and usually in the produce aisle, there's 5 or 6 other people. So literally, that sign would have to be flashing. It may give somebody a seizure. It's flashing so much. If my cell phone indicates I love bananas and it's going to cost me more, and he doesn't like bananas, he's allergic to them, it's going to cost him less. I can't imagine the reality of that. So here's the situation with this bill. Bananas go on sale. They're 59 cents every day. They go on sale for 47 cents. Our little corner retailer orders a bunch of them because bananas are going to be a big deal that day. And they come in beat up and bruised. So now the retailer wants to make them 10 cents a pound because he needs to move these bananas and have somebody make a lot of banana bread. But he can't do that because of this bill. I can think of another analogy. The meat counter, T-bone steaks, they cut them a couple days in advance. You have a sell-by date on there. They're $16.99 a pound. Today they go on sale for $9.99. They go out of date that day. So they went on sale for $9.99, and here the grocer wants to mark them down because he wants to clear out these T-bones or else he's going to lose a lot of money. The retailer can't make a manager special and reduce this meat. And you could go on and on with examples about this. You could talk about holiday clearance. You could talk about a retailer adapting because of weather conditions. We may have forecast of a blizzard, and milk's going to be flying out the door today, so let it go. But other things are going to sit because now nobody's going to get to the store in 3 days, and the retailer doesn't have the ability to adjust. Talk about loyalty offers. How many people have a CVS card? So if something goes on sale that day, and you go in with your CVS card and you get $3 of CVS bucks, you can't use those $3 on it because, what is it going to, the cash register going to flash red that you had one discount in the last 24 hours? Who's the timekeeper on all this? That's what I'd really like to know. Who's keeping track of 24 hours? Who knows when this meat was marked down, or who knows when something else was marked down? How about geography? There's a Food Lion in a tourist district where I live, but the Food Lion in Salisbury has different prices. So is that retailer locked in? They can't change their price from one location to the next because within 24 hours, I could be shopping in 2 stores with my loyalty card. So I can go on and on. How long do you want me to go on with examples of this? But there are plenty of applications where this is going to hurt the customer. It's going to make things less affordable for Marylanders. And for that reason, Madam Speaker, I ask you to move the amendment. I would hope to see green on that board. Green on that board is going to mean green in your pockets, and I'd really like to see a green vote on this today. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome. Recognizing the floor leader, the vice chair of the committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate the thought about the rotten bananas. I love making banana bread, so definitely want to get that discount. But let me tell you, colleagues, why this amendment is not necessary and why you can vote red on it and still get your rotten bananas. The dynamic pricing, if you look at the bill, there's a section that says dynamic pricing does not include. And so the first thing there is the loyalty program. So that's your CVS points. The next thing there is a difference in prices based on objective costs attributable to different locations. So that's like it costs more to get it to Salisbury or to get it to Baltimore, or whatever it might be. The next thing is a discounted price offered to consumers through a clear and conspicuous disclosure on a merchant's website that lists all eligibility and the available discount. So that would be if you want to lower the price at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for everyone, not just for the people who have access to it, but a different price for someone else, then that's how you would do that. So, the ladies' night, the happy hour, all of those kinds of things are covered in here. The goal of this bill is not to take away discounts. It's not to take away loyalty cards. It's not to take away banana sales. It's to make sure that different people, based on their personal characteristics, their economic situation, their economic vulnerabilities, are not exploited and charged more because they have limited access, limited options because of their personal characteristics. So, Madam Speaker, this amendment is not necessary, and I urge my colleagues to vote against it.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? The clerk will take the call. There being 90 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Are there any other amendments to the bill as to its title? Hearing none, the bill is order printed for third reading. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker?
Anyone in the back? All right. Thank you. The clerk will call the roll. There being 128 members present, the House is still in session. House third reading, calendar number 76. The clerk will read the first bill, please.
House Bill 604, Arbitration Reform for State Employees Act of 2026.
House Bill number 604 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 93 votes in the affirmative and 35 votes in the negative, House Bill number 604, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. So clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 606, Anne Arundel County Residential Property Tax Payment Deferrals Eligibility.
House Bill 606 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 126 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 606, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 730, Business Regulation, Maryland Franchise Registration and Disclosure Law, Alterations, Franchise Reform Act.
House Bill number 730 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the lady from Baltimore County, then Hartford County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Could the floor leader tell us if the fiscal note on it is still $395,000?
Floor leader?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Yes.
It is. Thank you.
The lady from Hartford County?
Thank you so much, Madam
You're
Speaker.
welcome.
Could the floor leader just tell me in practice what this exactly does?
Sure. This business-friendly bill allows franchises in Maryland to sort of go through the process of becoming a franchise, becoming recertified, like whatever I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the word, the regulatory process to file as a franchise, the filing with the state agencies, Attorney General's role in all of it. So what this bill does, we learned that franchises had sort of burdensome paperwork, and so a year ago there was an attempt to pass a pilot to streamline it. The bill didn't end up passing in the Senate. We, in our wisdom, passed it here. The Senate didn't. But the state agencies went ahead with the pilot anyways, and they found that they really were able to streamline these processes. And so now this bill takes those concepts and puts it into law.
Okay, and how does the Attorney General's office get involved with it?
I'm going to need to check on that. Do we have someone there? Yeah,
Would the floor leader, will you yield to the chair?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Madam Vice Chair. It's very rare that I get to tell you something you don't know, so this is exciting. The way the franchising process works in Maryland, it's done through the Securities Commissioner, which is under the Attorney General.
Okay.
So franchisors have to go to the Attorney General today, their Securities Commissioner office, to register, and so that's where the AG is involved.
Okay, so they register under there, and then when there is a complaint or a problem between the franchisee and the parent company, do they have to go through like a ALJ? What's the process look like if they try
So they
to
can go
litigate?
to the Securities Commission, sort of file a complaint, but they can also go to court. I mean,
They can also go to court regular. There's a pathway to. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 118 votes in the affirmative and 8 votes in the negative, House Bill number 730, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. So clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 842, Property Tax Credit, Surviving Spouse of Military Service Member.
House Bill number 842 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 126 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 842, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the
Madam
next
Speaker?
bill. Vote
Madam
change?
Speaker, yeah, I missed my vote on that last one. I'd like to be in the green, please.
Wonderful. Remember the yellow slip. All right. Any other vote change? The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 860, Petitions for Emergency Evaluation, Arnott and Magruder Memorial Act.
House Bill 860 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Thank you. Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 860, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1070, Department of Social and Economic Mobility Workforce Opportunities Grant Program and Fund.
House Bill number 1070 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 98 votes in the affirmative and 33 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1070, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please. Actually, House third reading calendar number 77. The clerk will read the bill, please.
House Bill 34, Municipalities, Open Drainage, Inlets, Inventory and Improvements, Mason's Law.
House Bill number 34 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 34, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 103, Consumer Protection, Consumer Contracts, Prohibited Waivers.
House Bill number 103 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 95 votes in the affirmative and 36 votes in the negative, House Bill number 103, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 279, Correctional Services Medication Review Committee, Administration of Psychotropic Medication to an Incarcerated Individual.
House Bill number 279 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 279, having received a constitutional majority, is declared
Madam
passed.
Speaker.
Yes.
The system is being funky again. I can't get my notes, and it's just spinning. Beautiful little spinning.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yep,
Yeah.
still not. Now it's gone.
We'll give it a second.
Vote change, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
10
Recognizing the gentleman from Southern Maryland while we wait.
Thank you, ma'am. House Bill 1070 to Nate, please.
All right. Remember your yellow slip. How's the system? Is it back? Wonderful. Thank you for letting us know. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 374, State Acupuncture Board Revisions.
House Bill number 374 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 127 votes in the affirmative and 2 votes in the negative, House Bill number 374, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1093, Health Insurance Provider Panels Requirement.
House Bill number 1093 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1093, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1178, Municipalities Annexation Limitations.
House Bill number 1178 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1178, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The vote change. Recognizing the lady from Prince George's County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
welcome.
I would like to be recorded in the green for 374. My buttons weren't working.
Anyone else for vote change? House third reading calendar, number 78. The clerk will read the bill, please.
House Bill 338, Department of General Services, Maryland Capitol Police, statewide jurisdiction.
House Bill number 338 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 338, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 531, State Department of Education, Public Schools STEM and Robotics Program Study.
House Bill number 531 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 125 votes in the affirmative, 7 votes in the negative, House Bill number 531, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 548, Land Use Permitting Development Rights, Maryland Housing Certainty Act.
House Bill number 548 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 123 votes in the affirmative and 8 votes in the negative, House Bill number 548, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 939, Certificates of Birth Filing Time Period.
House Bill number 939 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate?
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the delegate from Hartford County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Could the floor leader just really quick tell us what this bill does?
Floor leader.
Oh, it's you. Oh my gosh, I
Hi.
could have just
How are
asked
you?
What is, I'm actually kind of tickled right now. Okay. Enlighten us. What does this do?
This bill.
Oh,
can you
you're
hear me?
on.
I'm on. Okay. So what this bill actually does, basically the Jewish community, it was a big issue for them, so they would have to like name the child.
Right.
And yes, so with the boys, they generally are not circumcised until 8 days,
Right.
and before they didn't have enough time.
Okay.
So this allows them to be able to be circumcised and then have that ceremony. The girls are generally done within a couple days, not usually an issue. But again, they have a traditional ceremony that they actually named the child.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the biggest. There was no opposition to this bill.
Okay.
And it was voted unanimously out of committee.
Awesome. I think it's a great idea. Thank you so much. You did a great job, Madam Floor Leader. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
The gentleman from Western Maryland.
Kind of ironic. I could ask some questions too. So we were just talking about this, but I wanted to get clarity. The health, I just went through this myself in a way. The health insurance companies didn't weigh in around.
Hey, can you put the mic? Can you put it closer to your mouth?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Did the health insurance companies weigh in on this as creating a problem with people getting their filings in within 30 days for a change of benefits?
They did not come in opposition to this, and they had no issues, but I will verify with counsel to make sure that that is correct. Not a problem.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from Western Maryland or Hartford County? No? Okay. The clerk will call the roll, please.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. Okay. There being 132 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 939, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1094, Health Insurance Graduate Level Clinical Interns Required Reimbursement.
House Bill number 1094 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 132 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1094, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1243, Prince George's County Personal Property Tax Exemption for Small Manufacturers.
House Bill number 1243 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 2 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1243, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1276, West North Avenue Development Authority Neighborhood Social Connection and Development Program, established WNADA Neighborhood Social Connection and Development Act.
House Bill number 1276 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 125 votes in the affirmative and 7 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1276, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill. Actually, we're going to do a special order.
I have a vote change.
Yes, vote change.
Yes.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
HB 548, my finger hit the wrong button. I want
Okay.
to be reporting green. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other vote changes from anyone? All right. Special order calendar number 38. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 637, Public Health Recommendations for Immunizations, Screenings, and Preventative Services, Pharmacist Administration, and Required Health Insurance Coverage. Favor report is amended and adopted.
Recognizing the delegate, the maker of the motion from Hartford County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You're
I have
welcome.
an amendment at the desk. Amendment number 863029/1.
Amendment number 1.
Move so much to be considered the reading of the amendment.
So order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
The amendment body that you have on your screens, if you click on it, is a simple amendment. Essentially, what this amendment does is it allows the Secretary to issue recommendations in line with the ACIP policies that were established by December 31st, 2024. However, going forward, it would require that to add new products, currently unlicensed products, to their recommendation list, they would have to come and talk to us first. And I'm going to give you a little background as to why I think this is so incredibly important. In August of 1998, the FDA licensed the RotaShield vaccine. Very quickly, the American Academy of Pediatrics, by December, recommended this product for widespread use for all infants in the US. Unfortunately, within a year, they had to withdraw the product from the market because 112 babies had experienced something called intussusception, which is essentially their intestines were folding inside of themselves. It causes death in some cases. That is just one example of a time that a trade organization like the AAP messed up big time. Babies died, and the policies had to be changed. They don't always get it right, because they're not a legislative body. What this bill does, without my amendment, is it allows for the health department to look to these organizations like the AAP, and I imagine that they will heavily rely on the AAP, to create their recommendations for the state of Maryland. During COVID, you guys might remember that the AAP came out with guidance that said that those who experience COVID are more likely to experience myocarditis than they are after the vaccination. Unfortunately, we've just had a study come out January of 2026 in epidemiology, and I'm going to read what they actually found. This is a study of 1 million children. Myocarditis and pericarditis were documented only in vaccinated groups. Only in vaccinated groups. The AAP does not always get it right. They are not a legislative body. They are a trade organization. That is not the same thing as what we would expect our government to be relying on for medical care. Let me just tell you a little bit about what myocarditis is, just so that you know the severity of making a bad call on something like this. Complications include heart failure, heart attack, stroke, rapid or irregular heartbeats, arrhythmias, or sudden cardiac death. It's important that we get these decisions right, and the AAP doesn't always get it right. In fact, there's been several times that they have not gotten it right. For a very long time, they were not using weight guidance for car seats. They were using age limits. Of course, anybody with a thinking mind could tell why that might not be a smart idea, since children of the same age are often massively different in size. They recommended bronchodilators for kids with bronchitis, which turned out to be a bad recommendation, and they had to change that. They recommended hour limits for children on screens. Recently, they've changed that as well, actually relaxing those. I think many of us would question why you would be relaxing screen time regulations at a time when we know children are being harmed by access to non-stop streaming. Trade organizations do not always get it right. And we do not want our healthcare policies to be relying exclusively, essentially exclusively, on trade organizations. But there's more reasons why it can be problematic. I'm going to read to you some of the funders of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Merck, Pfizer, Sanofi Pasteur, GlaxoSmithKline, Eli Lilly. Are you seeing a theme here? It's the very people that we as a government are supposed to be regulating. We're supposed to be deciding if their products are safe, and they are funding the AAP. That is very much like the fox guarding the hen house on policy, healthcare policy, for our most vulnerable and fragile members of society. I do not want to see us step away from keeping vaccine policy broadly in the hands of the legislature. And I'll give you one more reason why. The problem that this policy is supposed to fix is the winds of change that blow in DC, which I think everybody in this body can agree with is pretty serious. But we also have winds of change here. Out of the last 4 governors, 2 of them have been Democrats and 2 of them have been Republicans. So it does change here, which means administrations change, which means the people in charge of this vaccine policy at the health department will change politically with the winds. And I dare venture to say that if vaccine policy was being made in Congress right now, it would probably have been the same for a significant period of time and would definitely not be changing right now. So why would we mimic the very structure that we're complaining about is occurring in DC, the outsourcing of important policy to bureaucrats, and copy it essentially in Maryland and give it to our health department and pretend like we're going to get some kind of more stable outcome? That's not going to happen. There are thousands of products right now in R&D, thousands and thousands of products. I want, ironically, all of you to have the opportunity, particularly on the health committees, and you don't have to be a doctor to be good on the health committee. I've seen a lot of really impressive people run health committees that don't have medical degrees. But I would like you guys to see what these new products are before we outsource the decision-making on whether or not they're appropriate to be recommended to our children by people who are unelected and do not have their feet at the ground level with our constituents. It is our responsibility. The buck really stops with us. Are these new products safe or not? Because we don't want to see another RotaShield happen in the state of Maryland. We don't want to see another product licensed and recommended by our health department, only to find out a year later that babies have died because of it. And we, in the legislature, never had a chance to look at the research or weigh in on it. I don't want to see that happen in the state of Maryland. And so I strongly, strongly urge the body to accept this very small but reasonable amendment. Going forward, if something new is licensed, come to us, let us think about it, let us look at it, and let us decide if it's appropriate for the folks of Maryland to be recommended this product. Otherwise, I don't think we're really doing anything different than what's happening in DC. We're just copying it and putting a blue sticker over it and saying it's safe and effective today. But we're really not doing anything different. And with that, Madam Speaker, I move my amendment.
Thank you. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Delegate, for giving me the amendment in advance. I would ask the body to resist this amendment. It was discussed in subcommittee and defeated. It was discussed in the full committee and defeated. And the reason for that it was defeated is we are actually trying to bring some stability to the process. The legislative process does not provide stability in healthcare, and we're talking about something really important, right? Public health care. So why should we trust our Secretary of Health? Because we've passed a law that says our Secretary of Health has to have expertise in health administration, health policy. Our current Secretary of Health was a surgeon before she became a Secretary of Health, and also worked at CMS, where she dealt with a lot of these issues. So she is an expert in her own right. But the bill is very clear. She is not making this decision in a vacuum.
1 second. Can we please listen? And will you be so kind and put the microphone closer to your mouth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
So she's not making this decision in a vacuum. She's not making this decision, and these are recommendations, by the way, not decisions for or mandates. There are no mandates in this bill. But she is making consideration based on the authoritative medical organizations that use science-based, evidence-based processes to make decisions, to make recommendations, and yes, sometimes they get it wrong. I mean, I guess sometimes even we get it wrong sometimes. So one of the things, so here are the things that the Secretary will have to take into consideration. Recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American Academy of Family Physicians, and must also take into consideration the applicable guidance of the Maryland Statewide Authority Commission, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, including the Health Resources and Services Administration, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, including the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the Food and Drug Administration, including the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. So with all of those considerations, with all of those expert organizations, I would say, again, these decisions and recommendations are going to be very well informed and help us to be nimble in addressing our vaccine policy here in Maryland. So with that, I would ask the body to resist
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
To explain my vote, Madam
Go
Speaker.
ahead. Recognizing the lady from Hartford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate the words of my friend from Montgomery County. But I do just want to say, for the record, COVID was very damaging for public health perception in parenting communities. And I can give you data to explain to you what has happened. For routine childhood vaccinations, the coverage rates are extremely high. Maryland is one of the highest in the nation. However, for the COVID vaccine, which was recommended both by the Trump administration many times and by the Biden administration, the nationwide coverage rate for children, even though it was recommended, is 9%. They do not believe you anymore. What happened during COVID eroded parents' trust in every county in this state and every county in the nation so badly that while you continue to recommend the COVID vaccine for children, just 9% of children are actually getting it. So This is a growing problem, and if you want parents to believe in public health authority, policies like this will drive you in the other direction. 9% coverage rate for a recommended vaccine says really all that I need to say. Thank you.
The clerk will take the call. There being 94 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Recognizing the delegate from Frederick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have an amendment
You're
at the
welcome.
desk. It's amendment number 203925-1.
Amendment number 1.
Thank you. So we're talking about being well informed, and what this amendment does is it requires the health department to develop and maintain a clear and accessible data dashboard, including information on vaccines and any kind of adverse reactions or impacts. And it includes at least a link to whichever is going to be the new federal site. It's important. It's important to give Maryland families this information so that they can be well informed. And as a healthcare provider and a mom, I know that the foundation of the patient-provider relationship is all about trust. And trust can't exist without that transparency. And currently, Maryland parents are seeking information about vaccine safety. And if they're directed to the federal database, it can often be very clunky, very difficult to navigate, and overwhelming for the average person. The data is there, but it's often buried. Maryland can do better. We are a state that prides itself on being a leader in biotech and healthcare. And yet, we are failing in how we communicate vital safety data to our citizens. So, my proposal, very, very simple. Maintain a clear, accessible, user-friendly dashboard that specifically highlights reported adverse events in our state. A one-stop shop so that parents can see what's being reported from their communities and they can have meaningful conversations then with their doctors. And it demonstrates that we as a state are not afraid of data, and it shows that we take reports seriously and we value the safety of our children above any kind of political narrative. We all know sunlight is the best disinfectant for misinformation, and we don't want to hide data behind complex federal portals or any kind of vacuum where it just gets sucked out and into the the interweb? Is that what we're saying? Interwebs. This empowers our citizens to have facts. So, especially if you're following, recently on Monday, a federal judge temporarily blocked the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, overhauled the vaccine schedule. It is a mess right now. Our citizens deserve facts, and I understand why we are putting this in place and what we are trying to do here, but we need some kind of forward-facing information that parents can rely on, and that's what I feel this amendment does. So, Madam Speaker, I move the amendment.
Thank you. The floor leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
And I do appreciate that we need to have as much information as possible, and parents and guardians need to know exactly what's happening. And in fact, providers are required to give parents and guardians information in writing every time they give an immunization. That requirement already exists. They are also required to tell the family member or the guardian about the federal website where they can report adverse reactions to the immunization. So they're required to give information about that, and if there is an adverse reaction to an immunization, the provider will help the parent and guardian to fill out the form that goes in that federal database. I did check out the database, and yeah, it does take some maneuvering to get through it. It is not state specific, but it is immunization specific. So if you want to know what a particular vaccine is, you can search that database and you can find out how many adverse reactions there were to that vaccine, if that's something that you are looking for. If we were going to do a state database, as being suggested in this amendment, it would be a very expensive endeavor. And I know that my friend, the chair of appropriations, would look at me sideways or roll his eyes if I said we should build this database. So thank you very much. I do recommend resisting this amendment.
The question before the House is the adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? The clerk will take the call. There being 92 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Are there any other amendments to the bill as to its title? Recognizing the delegate from Frederick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I did have two other amendments that are not ready. One of them is very important. It's actually about, there's a lot of combination vaccines right now, and it's about actually giving parents the option to have single dose and to spread their doses out and not be charged by insurance. So if that would be considered a friendly amendment, I would hope that we could maybe talk about it. If not, I will talk about it on third reader, about that, why that is incredibly important to families.
Let me ask the floor leader, the vice chair of the committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's really not part of this bill, so I wouldn't accept it as a friendly amendment.
So then on third reader, you can mention it. Thank you so much for being flexible. Seeing no other amendments or questions, the bill is order printed for third reading. Thank you. Quorum call, please.
Madam Speaker?
Anyone in the back? Thank you. The clerk will call the roll. There being 129 members present, the House is still in session. House third reading, calendar number 79. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 22, Correctional Services, Incarcerated Individuals, Identification Cards, Driver's License, and Birth Certificates.
House Bill number 22 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 112 votes in affirmative and 18 votes in the negative, House Bill number 22, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 193, State Procurement Transparency and Procedures.
House Bill number 193 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 193, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 216, Criminal Law Benefits Exploitation.
House Bill number 216 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 216, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 575, Public Schools Student Attendance, Excused Absences for Civic Engagement.
House Bill number 575 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 114 votes in the affirmative and 16 votes in the negative, House Bill number 575, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1252, Department of Housing and Community Development, Montgomery County Study.
House Bill number 1252 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk would take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1252, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1267, Patuxent Research, Refuge, and Beltsville Agricultural Research Center, zoning classification, protecting Patuxent Research Refuge Act.
House Bill number 1267 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 123 votes in the affirmative and 7 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1267, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. House third reading calendar number 80.
Madam Speaker.
Vote change?
Yes.
All right, recognizing the gentleman with the orange tie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Bill 22 to the red, please.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, sir. Recognizing the gentleman from the Eastern Shore.
House Bill 22 from yea to nay.
Recognizing the gentleman from the Eastern Shore.
I'll follow suit. House Bill 22 to red.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Recognizing the lady from Hartford County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're
This
welcome.
is from an earlier calendar, if that's okay.
It's okay.
My eyes and finger weren't working together. So it was for HB 1243, and I would like to be in the yes, yay.
Recognizing the gentleman from the Eastern Shore.
House Bill 22 to red.
Anyone else for vote change?
House
Recognizing the other gentleman from the Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
House Bill 22 to red, please.
Anyone else? Recognizing the gentleman, yes or no, from Western Maryland? I guess not. Okay. Here we go. House third reading, calendar number 80. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 328, by county commissions, public ethics financial disclosure statements.
House Bill number 328 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 328, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 591, Wacomico County Highway Pedestrian Safety Act.
House Bill number 591 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 591, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 810, study to evaluate blockchain-based real property lease and title recordation and verification.
House Bill number 810 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 113 votes in the affirmative and 19 votes in the negative, House Bill number 810, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 828, State Board of Education Membership Educational Support Member.
House Bill number 828 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 828, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1272, Family Law, Kinship Care.
House Bill number 1272 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 132 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1272, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1326, Child Abuse and Neglect, Disclosure of Reports and Records.
House Bill number 1326 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 132 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1326, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Any vote change? House third reading calendar number 81. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 547, Income Tax Subtraction Modification, Enhanced Agricultural Management Equipment.
House Bill number 547 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote in the negative, House Bill number 547, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 552, Commission on the House of Reformation and Instruction for Colored Children Establishment.
House Bill number 552 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 129 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote in the negative, House Bill number 552, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1098, Courts, Exemptions from Execution on Judgments, Residential Real Property.
House Bill number 1098 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1098, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1118, Health, Health Insurance, and Health Occupations, Perinatal Behavioral Health Conditions.
House Bill number 1118 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 2 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1118, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1369, Department of Budget and Management Audit and Finance Compliance Unit Establishment.
House Bill number 1369 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Recognizing the lady from Hartford County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
The floor leader, just tell us real quick what this
Floor leader
is and does.
Yeah, thank you to my good friend. So this bill does a couple of things, but most importantly, it codifies a unit that is already in existence, but creates some more guardrails around it. It's the Audit and Finance Compliance Unit within the Department of Budget and Management, and the unit is tasked with working with agencies across state government to make sure that when they have audit findings, that there's a system in place to make sure that those audit findings are being addressed, remediated, and fixed. And so it's something that's been on the book, that has been in existence. This bill would codify it and actually sort of build out a little bit more specifically what it's supposed to do. There's also a section in the bill that requires for regular reporting between the AFCU, the acronym, the Audit, Finance, and Compliance Unit with the Office of Legislative Audits. And then also there is money in a dedicated purpose account that I know will be coming up shortly when we have the budget, but it was in there from the governor to allow for the AFCU to have money set aside in addition to a couple of extra pins, but also to work with agencies to fix findings. So for example, if an agency had a problem with a database that might need a $100,000 tweak, there is now specifically money set aside to fix those audit issues.
Okay, so yeah, my question was also, like, with all the amendments it looks like you guys put in, did it change the fiscal note in any way? Because it was kind of a hefty fiscal note.
Yeah, it did. And I will say I want to give credit to the Department of Budget and Management and the governor's staff. Actually, this was a bipartisan, bicameral priority bill that came out of the joint audit. We were able to bring the fiscal note down. Again, there's money allocated in the budget for this work as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Seeing no other question, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1369, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1422, State Procurement and Personnel Liquidated Damages Documentation Requirements and State Fiscal Leadership Capacity.
House Bill number 1422 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 126 votes in the affirmative and 6 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1422, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. House third reading calendar number 82. Before that, any vote change? Okay. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 382, Commercial Law, Broadband Access Low-Income Consumer Programs, Maryland Broadband Opportunity and Fairness Act.
House Bill number 382 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 95 votes in the affirmative and 34 votes in the negative, House Bill number 382, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 492, Courtroom Security Minimum Adequate Security Standard.
House Bill number 492 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 492, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1140, Baltimore County Board of Education Membership Alterations.
House Bill number 1140 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 127 votes in the affirmative and 3 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1140, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1143, Public Health, Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, Perinatal Autopsies, Lung Float Test Ban.
House Bill number 1143 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their
Madam
vote?
Speaker, to speak on my vote?
Yes,
Thank you
the lady
so much.
from Hartford County.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I took a minute to look into what this actually is, and while it's not the only test that's used to determine if a baby has been killed post-birth.
Can we listen, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's not the only test used to see if a baby has been killed post-birth or died in utero. It is part of a suite of tests that are used in determining whether or not the baby was unfortunately killed after birth. The medical examiner's office did write in and felt strongly that It is not the place of us to tell them which test they should be using. It's actually their role to decide which tests, and it's the judiciary's role to then decide in these cases the relevance of those tests, and it's the job of the defense attorneys to make the case why this should or should not be included. I very much worry that this is a sneaky backdoor into essentially legalizing post-birth abortion. Because if we cannot prove in court that a baby was murdered after they were born, and each time we lose a test, each time the legislature puts its nose into this process and says, no more testing like this, especially particularly in a legislature where we've seen post-birth abortion bills, I'm very concerned that we could end up in a state where beautiful babies are murdered and we do nothing to get them justice. So I will be a red on this bill, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
To explain my vote, I appreciated the concerns that were raised by the Chief Medical Examiner, and in fact, that's why we tried to take a thoughtful approach. This is not a ban, it's a moratorium. It's a 2-year moratorium because, as the previous speaker said, this is one of several, of a suite of tests, but the National Association is saying that this is not an effective test. So we wanted time to study and see if this is really something that should be utilized or if it's even necessary. But we did not ban it because we wanted the time to examine the process, examine the test and its efficacy, and get a report back to the legislature. So I'm very proud to vote green on this bill.
All right, the clerk will call the roll. Sorry about that, 1 minute. There being 99 votes in the affirmative and 31 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1143, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1452, Economic Development, Prince George's County Suitland Development Authority, established.
House Bill number 1452 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 127 votes in the affirmative and 4 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1452, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1557, Procurement, Real Estate Advisory Committee, and Property Acquisition and Lease Requirements.
House Bill number 1557 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I was going to explain my vote, but I'll do it later. It's fine.
Okay.
I know it's gone.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And thank you for the work. You put a lot of work into those bills. You really did. And you are part of the audit committee. You read the reports, and you came up with a good group of bills that we should all be very proud of. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, vote change?
Yes.
I'd like to change my vote on House Bill 1422 to red. Thank you.
All right, so
Madam
one
Speaker.
second. There being 119 votes in the affirmative and 11 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1557, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Vote change.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Western Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My button wasn't working on 1557. I'd like to be recorded in the red.
Remember your yellow slip. Anyone else for vote change? All right. House third reading calendar number 84. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 295, Gaming, Prohibition on Interactive Games and Revenue from Illegal Markets.
House Bill number 295 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 106 votes in the affirmative and 23 votes in the negative, House Bill number 295, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1100, Telecommunications Infrastructure Protections.
House Bill number 1100 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1100, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Any vote change?
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from the Eastern Shore. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House
welcome.
Bill 1143 read.
Anyone else? The gentleman from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome.
295 to read. Thank you.
Anyone else for vote change? House third reading calendar number 85. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 596, Estates Maryland Uniform Simultaneous Death Act.
House Bill number 596 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 129 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 596, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 600, St. Mary's County Metropolitan Commission.
House Bill number 600 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 600, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 611, Prince George's County Alcoholic Beverages Fees.
House Bill number 611 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 120 votes in the affirmative and 2 votes in the negative, House Bill number 611, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1171, Howard County Board of Education Student Member Voting.
House Bill number 1171 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 104 votes in the affirmative and 26 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1171, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1216, Insurance Certificates of Guarantee for County Bond Requirements, all counties.
House Bill number 1216 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate?
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
Could somebody please tell me what this bill does?
Recognizing the delegate from Southern Maryland, and would the floor leader please address the question for House Bill 1216?
Yes, I'm sorry, what is the question?
The question is, what does the bill do?
This is the St. Mary's bill. Sorry, you caught me flat.
I'm sorry.
This is 1216.
It is insurance certificates of guarantee for county bond requirements.
Oh, this is the Phillips.
Just give her 1 second.
Yes,
No problem.
I'm so sorry.
I think I get it. I'm not sure.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the chair of the committee.
Yep. So the bill authorizes, but does not require any county in the state
instead of only specified counties to honor certificates of guarantee issued by a nonprofit association of contractors or its wholly owned subsidiary in order to satisfy certain county bond requirements.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right,
Madam
any other questions? Seeing
Yes,
none?
Madam
Yes,
Speaker.
recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If I could ask a question of the floor leader.
Yes, she's up.
The bill is unamended, and there's opposition from the Maryland Transportation Builders and Materials Association.
Yes.
And some other groups. And basically, their opposition is the same. It says that by creating optional layers of approval across all counties, the bill could slow project timelines, increase paperwork, and create an inconsistent application of bond requirements. This adds red tape, which may hinder efficient project delivery, and it goes on and on. So I'm just curious if the committee considered their concerns, and how would you respond to them?
Yep. Thank you for the question. So there was opposition by two organizations. I believe it was written opposition. It is opposition nonetheless. This is enabling legislation, and several counties already have this law. So it's enabling, and I think it's safe to say that my colleagues and I took that into consideration. It's enabling only.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 94 votes in the affirmative and 37 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1216, having received a constitutional majority, is declared pass. Any
Madam
vote
Speaker.
change? Recognizing the Chair of Rules.
Thank you very much. I would like to change my vote on House Bill 1452 from red to green. Thank you.
You're welcome. Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Vote change on 1140 to nay, please.
Recognizing the gentleman from Baltimore County.
Yes, like to be recorded.
Oh, it was
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1422 to red. Please.
recognizing the other gentleman from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Like to be recorded a yay on House Bill 1171.
Anyone else? Recognizing the gentleman from Western Maryland.
Yea to nay on House Bill 22.
Any other vote changes? All right, remember to turn in your yellow slips. House third reading calendar number 86. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 456, Howard County Alcoholic Beverages Gift Basket Permit.
House Bill number 456 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 456, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 503, Baltimore City Sheriff's Office Collective Bargaining Compensation.
House Bill number 503 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 105 votes in the affirmative and 25 votes in the negative, House Bill number 503, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 519, Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Entertainment Permits.
House Bill number 519 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 519, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 522, Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Licenses, Class C, per diem license fees.
House Bill 522 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 522, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill, please.
House Bill 1160, Calvert County, Calvert Health Medical Center.
House Bill number 1160 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 votes in the affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, House Bill number 1160, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. The clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1420, Health Occupations Criminal History Records Checks.
House Bill number 1420 is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker?
Recognizing the gentleman from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, to explain
You're
my
welcome.
vote, and thank you for your kind remarks earlier. I wasn't sure we'd get to this calendar. I just wanted to stand up to explain my green vote, and I want to thank all the members of the Joint Audit Committee. This bill, plus a number of other bills that I know we've considered today, and I think there's one more tomorrow. You all are hysterical. Have really put a lot of work into this. This is a bipartisan, bicameral work. I want to thank, can I, permission to use one delegate's name in particular?
Let me think about it. Yes, go ahead.
I want to thank Delegate Steve Arentz in particular, as the minority member of the Joint Audit Committee, for being incredibly committed to this work as well. These are problems that have gone on for a really long time, and we, with this package, are looking to protect the most vulnerable Marylanders. We're looking to make government work better for Marylanders, and we're looking to save money. So thank you, Madam Speaker, for your leadership, and proud of my green vote, and most of yours.
The clerk would take the call. Oh, come on. There being, okay, we're going to have a vote change on that one. Let's see. There being 130 votes in the affirmative and one possible vote change, but one vote in the negative, House Bill number 1420, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Any vote changes? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? Okay. That ends the work at the desk. Recognizing the gentleman from Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do have a vote change. House Bill 503 to red. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Recognizing the gentleman from Southern Maryland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1420 to green.
There you go. Beautiful. Thank you. Committee announcements. Any committee announcements? Appropriations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We will vote tomorrow morning at 11:45.
Economic matters.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Economic matters will vote tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Environment and transportation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Environment and Transportation Committee will meet for voting at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Government, labor, and elections.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. GLE will meet for a quick vote session on 2 bills after the floor in the old House chamber.
Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and this is a change. The Health Committee will not be meeting for a voting session today. The chairs will be meeting at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Please listen for subcommittee announcements.
There was a lady in the red to my left. She's not left, but to my left that was very happy. The Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Judiciary Committee will be meeting for a vote session this evening at 6 p.m. We will also have a vote session tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Judiciary, okay. Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. for a vote session. 11 a.m. tomorrow.
11 a.m. Subcommittee announcements. Recognizing the delegate from the Health Committee and chair of a subcommittee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Health Minority Health Disparity Subcommittee will be meeting at 5:30 this evening. Thank you on Zoom.
Any other subcommittee announcements? All right, delegation announcement, recognizing the delegate, the minority whip, the delegate from Frederick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The
You're
Frederick
welcome.
The Frederick County delegation is going to meet for a quick vote immediately after floor for 60 seconds. Thank you.
Any other delegation announcements? Seeing none, caucus announcements. Seeing none, personal or guest announcements. All right, seeing none.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the delegate from Baltimore City.
As some of you may know, I went to high school at the Baltimore City College. But after that, I went to a small college in Western Mass, Amherst College. And for the last 2 days, there have been a dozen students from the college who are interested in public service and have returned to the gallery either because they're gluttons for punishment or their plane flight isn't for a little later. We're going to make one stop, and I would like to make this point to the whole body. The Thurgood Marshall statue includes Marshall, two children representing his plaintiffs in Brown versus the board, and Donald Gaines Murray, who was his plaintiff when he sued to integrate the University of Maryland Law School, which he could not attend. Donald Gaines Murray, native of Baltimore, went to Douglas High School, and then he went to Amherst College. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate, how long have you been hosting them?
Maybe for half a dozen years now.
That's a big commitment. Thank you. We're going to thank the pages tomorrow, okay? Because they'll be here with us tomorrow. So, quorum call.
Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. I have an announcement before anyone leaves. This is important. If you're leaving the campus today, tomorrow there's a running festival in Annapolis. It starts at 7-something in the morning. It goes until 11-something in the morning, which means that the Bladens Road is closed. A lot of the roads are closed. It will be difficult to get around in your car. Okay, I want you to pay attention to that and consider it. Actually, when we tell you what time to return tomorrow, okay? Want you to be empowered with that knowledge. Thank you. All right. Will the clerk please take the call? We have 129 members present. The House is still in session. Listen to the time. Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stands adjourned until Saturday, March 21st at noon, 12 o'clock p.m., legislative date March 9th.
Have a blessed evening. Stay safe. Thanks for all your hard work. Thank you, the clerk, as well.